Hi Libra, welcome to your horoscope. Libra, today we're going to talk about an important aspect that will become exact in February of 2021, and it will be a dominant theme of 2021. You're going to have Saturn in your house of creating legacy, giving birth to something that you're really passionate about over the course of next 2.5 years. This is your house of creating labor of your love, something that you're really passionate about. It could be a hobby, it could be a child, it could be a love, something that you are really, really invested in. You create something material and gainful out of that. I spoke about this in detail because this is the source of abundance for the next 20 years for you. This is going to meet Jupiter in December. Saturn is going to meet Jupiter on 21st of December, and a new financial cycle for you, a new cycle of growth will begin for you from this area of your life. But what is happening in 2021 is as well that Uranus is going to square this. That's a hard aspect. Uranus is going to create a little bit of volatility and challenge over here. It will create something within you to sort of challenge the stability, the source of income, this passion that you want to create into something of a legacy. It will create a volatility, as well as it will add the element of innovation into it. It is like we are adding spice to the sweetness. So Saturn is working great. Is It's going to really create a stable base for you. It will give you the discipline to pursue something that you're really, really passionate about. It could be something creative. It could be something that is an emotional expression of who you are. You're going to let others see you. For the last 2.5 years, Saturn has been in your house of foundations. That's a little bit of a difficult aspect to have, and you had that for the last 2.5 years. Saturn in your house of home, family, and emotional foundations for the last 2.5 years has been creating the very ground on which you stand on. It's like you have created firmer roots for you to stand on, to create now the fruits of your labor, to now create something that you're really passionate about. It's like we have laid down the foundation of something solid. So I have comfort, I have emotional strength, I'm able to support my home and family, I'm able to create a harmonious, peaceful environment for myself. And Jupiter is in your house of emotional foundations this year. So Jupiter is like now expanding that feeling of having a steady feet, steady ground, the security, the stable home, the long term changes that were happening in your home and family. Now they start giving some amount of rewards in some ways. If there were real estate issues that you were facing, home family issues that you were trying to work through over the course of last 2.5 years, now Jupiter over here starts giving you rewards of that. In fact, around 9th and 10th of May, you might have a conversation which could be very deep in nature, which could show you that you have come a long way when it comes to your emotional foundations, that you're able to handle any situation of sudden turnaround, sudden shifts, sudden crisis, even which can be lucrative if handled well. You'll show yourself that you can do that on 9th or 10th of May. And then again on 15th to 17th of May, we have a grand earth trine involving these houses, which shows your strength, shows how far you have come. It shows your boldness, it shows your perseverance, it shows how you can encourage other people to create a value out of a situation that can look like a crisis, that can look like a turning point, that can look like an imbalance in give and take of relationships. So there could be a relationship imbalance that comes to light, but you create great value and harmony out of that by handling it confidently, because you worked hard on yourself, your inner wiring, your emotional foundation, your home, family, real estate, the last 2.5 years. And that has been a very tough threshold. It's the toughest position to have, Saturn in our house of home foundation, because everything that we thought was stable, was something that we used to find safety, that sort of gets challenged, and we are supposed to create a new foundation for ourselves. And you might have done that by creating solid career, by creating home, by relocating, by creating security and boldness within yourself, to handle what's going to come, to sort of become now more visible. So now with Saturn in your house of giving birth to something, Saturn has now transitioned from 21st of March into your house of passion, and it will stay there till about March of 2023. It will very briefly dip back into your home and family sector from 1st of July to about 17th of December. That's a very brief retrograde. There might be something residual in our emotional strength that is missing, that it will go down to just, set the right boundaries when it comes to your personal life, set the right boundaries when it comes to your interaction with other people, how you come across to them. Are you being bold over there? Are you standing your ground or not? Are you creating secure boundaries for your own self? So that might happen between 1st of July to 17th of December. But largely, Saturn has now transitioned into your house of creating a legacy. So we move from stability to self expression. We move from trying to make sort of even ends meet to let others see you now. We are learning to put our heart into what we do. This is the house of joy, creativity, love, children, all the things that you're passionate about and all the things that represent freedom of emotional expression. Our children, our love, our creativity, our hobbies, our risk taking. We'll be working with discipline on them to create something concrete out of them over the course of next 2.5 years. We'll find realistic approaches to create something of value out of our passions. Love is not going to be frivolous. If there are any relationships or partnerships or love affairs that are sort of frivolous in nature, they will stop appealing to you in some ways. You'll be looking for stable, true depth when it comes to heart matters. You will be working on your children if you have a child, or you might be sort of developing the child within. We'll be becoming teachers of our children, and the children become our teacher in turn, especially in the next 2.5 years. It's true all our lives. Our children are sort of our mirror, our teachers. They truly are here to teach us something about ourselves, but especially during this time when Saturn is here, the children in our life become our teachers. Through our interaction with them, through us trying to create something solid for them, we learn something about ourselves. You'll be perfecting your hobbies, gainful hobbies, to create them into professions or gainful businesses during this time. Our creative endeavors get very serious during this time. They are soon to become a part of our daily life. How do I make what I love to do a part of my daily life? That is a question that Saturn helps you answer over the course of next 2.5 years. It gives you the rules, the regulations, the foundation, the discipline to pursue your creative endeavors into daily life. Once you have mastered your creative endeavors, created a structure for them, then it becomes a part of your daily life after 2.5 years. You'll be working hard to develop your skill set, whether they're technical, something ahead of time. It could engage networking, could engage social platform. You'll be working hard to develop those skill set and creating something really concrete and gainful out of them, out of technology, out of ahead of time ideas, out of networking, um, out of social network, social media. Wasteful play will be paired during this time due to responsibility. This is the house of play, but Saturn doesn't stand for inefficiency. So if there is a mode of play, a hobby or a game thing or something you're doing online that is sort of wasting your time, it will have to be paired due to responsible creating at this time. It could also be because you have children at this time, but it could be because you take more responsibility of the time you spend on play. There's more responsible play, responsible creating that happens. This is a very, very good position for Saturn to be in because it harnesses our passions into something concrete. There are no wastefulness in our love affairs, in our time. This creative potential is seriously dealt with discipline, and you create your legacy, an extension of yourself. Whether these are children, it's a business, it's a love. There's a work of passion that is created by you. What do you want to leave behind you that will overlast you, that will sort of outlive you? You will examine what are you creating for the world and take responsibility of whosoever you truly love and care. Whether they are your children or the loved ones in your life, you will take additional steps to create something concrete for them. You'll see reflection of yourself in the loved ones that you have. This is more responsible loving. So that's why love affairs convert into more responsible loving. They children become a source of learning, as well as we become more involved in their life. We become more responsible for their creativity. Even you could have children who are very unique, who could be rebellious, who could be geniuses, who could be very creative and very progressive. They are like friends possibly with you. Your children could be very gainful. They could be social elite, and you might be sort of creating the right boundaries for them, creating the right boundaries to make their creativity into something gainful as well. Then your own hobbies, maybe your hobbies involve gadget or electronics or online trading or social networking or connection with people, researching on conceptual things, seeing documentaries, being part of concerts and festivals. You are an outgoing sign. It somehow has to do with online and connectivity with other people. And as it's your sign, you're the sign who engages in knowledge, lot more conceptual things, lot more than any other sign. So your hobbies could be in the field of tech, social networking, knowledge. You'll bring that together, solidify that as a part of your career, as a part of your daily life in some ways. You'll be falling in love with your life because you'll create something solid out of what you love. You'll be sharing your vision with solid love partners, setting right boundaries as well when it comes to love. Setting right boundaries for your children, for the child within you. If you don't have children, you look to develop the child within you into something that you can be proud of. This is responsible play, self-discipline in sports and love and hobbies and passions. Being responsible for what are we creating in the world? What are we creating for the world? Structured, something tangible, something creative that we're creating. And discipline to do something that manifests your talents. You become the teacher of your own art and knowledge. This is the house when a lot of people start teaching their unique talents to others. And there could be a lot of friends that you can develop at this time. Even if you're not interested in love, you could create a lot of platonic friends, which become your long-term partners. They could be elder to you. They could be a little bit ahead of time as well. Love life could be very unique, but final decisions are made in love life here. This is what Saturn is creating for you. And I think this is a fabulous, fabulous aspect to have. If you accept that 2.5 years are the time when you'll be creating something that you'll be proud of all your life. But what's happening as well is that Uranus is in your house of transformation. This is your house that is getting highlighted right now. So you would be experiencing that right now very, very strongly. This is a very empowering aspect to have because it sort of sets you free. It sets you free from whatever was blocking you from speaking up, for example, from being powerful when it comes to joint situations, from showing what you truly are made of. This is sort of a turning point. It puts us in the situations where you're required to show a part of you that others have never seen before. This is a point of transformation where we weed out the things that block our power. This is the house of power. It's the house of healing. It's very empowering time, and you might be in the middle of that. You will be experiencing that right now. We're getting rid of limitations, Libra. We're getting rid of limitations which block couple of things for us, that block deep intimacy with our partner, that block depth when it comes to our handling of other people, where sometimes you're taken for granted or they're not healthy give and take. When it comes to joint situations, you'll find yourself standing up a lot more in those situations. Because Uranus is asking you to set free, to free yourself from the conventional ways of handling give and take in partnerships. You are a sign who's very tolerant when it comes to joint situations. You are more tolerant of shortcomings as well. You are a sign who sometimes lets things be when it comes to imbalance in give and take in relationships. But Uranus over here, Uranus is lightning bolt. It puts you in a situation where a part of you that others have never seen before, that will come out. And you might have been experiencing that since last year as well. It's not very evident to us till Uranus actually transits the degree, the exact degree of where we are, where our ascendant is, or where our sun is, or where our moon is. So Uranus has just traversed the first 6 degrees right now of the sign, so it's like really early. But the thing is that when something has not come for last 84 years, right? So Uranus has not come in this house for last 84 years. None of us have ever experienced this kind of sudden transformation. So Libra, you have never experienced the shift that Uranus is bringing in how you are as a person. This is the house of Kundalini awakening, the power within us that is hidden and not very evident to others, but when it wakes up, it can completely transform how you are, especially with others, because the house that where this awakening is happening is the house of precedes of relationships and partnerships. How we handle the others with whom we have joint resources, with whom we have intimacy, with whom we have give and take of financials. This could be a business partner. This could be the people who we interact with for financial dependency. It could be the people who sponsor you, who give you loans. It could be a partner with whom you have joint resources. It could be the partner with whom you have intimacy. Uranus cuts off and weeds off whatever is blocking your personal power. And people are going to see a part of you that they have never seen before. The material shift in your relationships and how you harness your personal power when it comes to joint relationships. How you deal with people who are pooling their talents and resources with you. The positive side of it, all of it is positive, but the most positive thing I like about this is that you can come up with innovative ways of doing things when it comes to shared resources, when it comes to pooling talent together. You can come up with some very independent and ahead of time ways of handling a crisis situation like we are in right now. This is the house of sudden transformation and crisis. Uranus is brilliance. We can come up with brilliant, lucrative financial propositions to make a good crisis not go to waste. We can rise above the noise of it all to create a transformation for ourselves when it comes to our financial standing and our physical body. This is where Libra might suddenly decide to shift the way they look. Complete set of changes because you want your body and your external look to reflect how powerful you feel within. So while this suddenly being put in situation, sudden shift, when Uranus is in your house of transformation, we go through sudden shifts, sudden transformation, sudden awakening, sudden realization, sudden cutting off from conventional matters. This conflicts with what Saturn is trying to create. Saturn is trying to give you the discipline to channel your passion in a very constructive fashion. These are two parts of us that are going to be at conflict with each other, and you'll find that increasingly in 2021. But both of them can become a source of creative process for you. They can add to each other as well if you harness the tension that a square comes with. A square is a hard aspect. It comes with internal tension, which if we are able to harness well, you can have enviable success with this aspect. What is a conflict? Let's look at what kind of conflict can happen. One is light, the other is dark. Saturn in your fifth house is all about joy, something creating material out of your joy. Uranus is about our emotional impulses, our darker side to some extent. We are clearing up, we are weeding out some part of us that is blocking us. inhibitions that are blocking us. So this can support each other very well. We sort of wake up to our own power, and that feeds into our creative process. So for example, if you were not feeling sure about giving birth to your legacy, giving birth to a business, giving birth to a creative process, Uranus over here can wake up the powerful side of you, either through a crisis or through a sudden position in which you're put, and your confidence sort of zooms up. You feel sure of doing it. So the two can very well work together. Then Uranus in your eighth house can purge a lot of psychological stuff. It can make you go through psychological renewal and set you free completely of complexes. And that can very well help you in open and creative expression. It can help you with children. It can help you in dealing with love in a more stable fashion. But what happens as a conflict, what can be the darker side of it, is that these two, while you're working on, with your children, or you're working on your project, Uranus suddenly evokes a negative side of you. So this is anger, power struggle, ego, coming in the path of you creatively, creating things out of love. So ego, power, anger can come in the way of you creating things like love with your loved one, or when you're handling children. For example, we are trying to create a structure of self-expression for our children, or a positive environment for our children. You'll be working very hard on your children, and anger, power, or ego can come up, can wake up in inconvenient hours. And you sort of would have to harness that side of you in a positive fashion to root it into things that you love. These two are parts of us within us which we can harness. There's one part of us which is positive, which is creative, and the other side of us which is the darker side of us, more intense side of us, even self-destructive part of us, which Uranus is trying to set free, cut cord from. It is trying to have this battle within us, and Uranus is actually your friend over here, because it's trying to move away from old. It will help you rise above the negativity, rise above our own self-destructive impulses. And it will give you flexibility in sudden life changes. You will be put in a situation where you'll suddenly have a shift. It could be sudden situation like we have all been put in a crisis situation. So for example, being in a situation like we are in right now, how do we create value out of that? Uranus helps you create value out of every crisis in this house. And fifth house is like having control at everything. You sort of feel in charge and confident in life. So Saturn over here is making you feel that you have the handle on things, and you can confidently go and create what you truly want to create. But Uranus throws some curveball. There's sudden shifts and changes, sudden situations that come up which don't let you do that. Handling these two together, so you'll be sort of creating in the face of volatility. You'll be creating in the face of sudden shifts coming up. You'll be creating in the face of sudden changes in financial standing of your partner, possibly, or volatility in how you receive support from others, because Uranus over here means that your support comes through volatile sources. It could be that the sponsorship for your creative venture comes through volatile sources. It could be that you're sort of dealing with a lot of internal stuff, with you're dealing with your own self over here, and that comes in the way of you being able to freely express yourself. You want to sort of have joy, positivity, creativity in what you're creating, and Uranus is waking up the darker, more intense side of you. There will be a fierce battle between the dark and light forces in our psyche. This is confidence versus power. You want to create something that shows your creativity, your unique side, your confident side, and then there's other side of you that wants to have power in what you create. You want to nurture your children, create the right environment for them, let their creativity blossom. Then there is a side of you that wants to have, to some extent, power in how the relationship is. You want to be friends with your with your children, but at the same time, you don't want to be treated in a lower fashion as a result of that. So there will be a conflict within you that you'll have to harness. The inherent conflict between Saturn and Uranus is always about creating something stable and long lasting, and something that is futuristic and may or may not work. But as I said, Saturn will give you a structure. It will give you a structure to create something long term. But you have to live with a little bit of volatility that comes from your in your way, in terms of situations suddenly changing. Situations suddenly changing. Either your partner's finances suddenly changes, or you are put in a situation which is suddenly in which you have to change things. You sort of have to be flexible, that what you're creating will come with some sudden curveballs, and that will be 2021. But Saturn is a stronger aspect here. It gives you the discipline, it gives you the hard work, as long as you have the eye on the prize that the next 2.5 years you're giving birth to your legacy. As long as you have the eye on the prize that you are creating something positive for your children, as long as you have an eye on the prize that you're creating something concrete when it comes to your love life, as long as you have an eye on the prize that you're creating gains out of speculative means, you're creating gains out of your passions, Uranus will just be the sprinkle on the top of your cupcake. It will add more color, it will add more zinc, it will add more authenticity to what you're doing. You will interact in a more powerful way with others, and you'll find unique ways of getting support from other people. How does your partner support you? How is your intimacy? It will add some zing into that. Then, how's your life when it comes to who sponsors you? How do you take that in? So you can make the best out of both the worlds over here, as long as you know that there is an inner tension. You're dealing with two parts of you which are very different inherently with each other, but you are being given the planets to deal with it. One last thing that I wanted to cover is Venus retrograde. Venus will be retrograde from 13th of May all the way till 25th of June. I spoke about it briefly in another video. It is going retrograde in your house of adventure. It's a very good position to have Venus for a long period in. You sort of can really expand your knowledge at this time, and you'll feel that increasingly as Mercury goes into your house of knowledge from 11th of May, and then Sun will move here as well from 20th of May. So increasingly, this month specifically, if you just focus on May, it's going to get easier in the energy for you going forward. But you have to realize that when Venus is retrograde over here, we are sort of reviewing what is our specialization. How do we deal with education? How do we deal with knowledge? So there could be some creative written, speaking, publishing material that you might need to work extra on, and you might need to sort of enhance your talent to handle something. It could be sort of some old writing project or publication project that comes for renewal. You might need to write about something that you've done before. It could be old publishing project. It could be on a psychological level, it adds to your sense of adventure. Maybe your sense of adventure has been suppressed before. It could be none of us can travel at this time. This is your house of travel, and Venus over here makes you travel lust. So you sort of are probably missing the mobility. So Venus over here makes you think about the places you want to go. How do you want to add to your knowledge? When you do that, it can inspire you to do things which are different from your comfort zone, and it can add to your knowledge at this time. And I would take advantage of that, especially after 20th of May. We have a new moon over here from 22nd of May. I would take on a project to write. I would take on a project to expand my knowledge. I would take on a project to preach, to teach something. You are a sign who can be a very good teacher. So if you are in a field where you sort of can teach about your skill set, next 18 months, Rahu is in your house of knowledge and teaching as well. So the road to success could be to teach other people, to study exotic things, to expand your knowledge. We, at whatever time we can travel, this is the time when you should be engaged with people who are different from you culturally, in language, learning different languages, learning about global matters, learning about things that help you expand your mind. The next 18 months, the road to success for you would be to leverage knowledge, leverage your knowledge, being a teacher, being sort of a person who is a SME in something, and you leverage that, and all of that agrees with you creating your legacy. It is like you know something, it could be in the matter of publication, international affairs, global matters, trade, foreign trade, a mentor coming into your life who can help you as well. All of these things support you in creating your legacy. So Venus over here going back and forth will help you review your knowledge sources. It will help you review, do you need to learn something new? It will help you review how you teach, how you write, how you express, how you market, how you deal with mentors, how's your relationship when it comes to foreign people or the people who are different from you. It could be that you have a person who you love who's foreign from you. Your relationship with the person who's foreign and different from you can come into focus as well, and that might go through some amount of shift and changes. But Venus retrograde from 13th of May till 25th of May is trying to teach us one thing, which is how do we express in relationships? How do we express ourselves to make people know what we want and need from them? And for you, that is very true for people who are different from you, who possibly are your teachers, your mentors, your people who are in your circle, who you are possibly either they are mentors and teachers to you, or you are teachers and mentor to you if you are in that profession. You learn how to speak up your needs, your wants, and at the same time, Venus over here helps us attract situations to expand our knowledge, and I'll make use of that all the way till early August. So good luck for that, Libra. I have not spoken in detail on North Node in Gemini over here or on Venus retrograde here because they're covered in separate videos. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video now.